Hey, good morning, everybody. It's KB5MIQ Big Boy. Hot, humid day here in Northeast Texas. Thought we'd make another little quick video. Had a few questions come in this week that I want to try to answer for people. Want to thank everybody. We hit 328 subscribers on the channel. We're trying to keep this thing going and really try to promote the hobby and especially help new hams. All right. 10-meter mobile operations. I've talked several times about different types of radios that you can use for 10-meter mobile or just 10-meter use in general, even in shack. But let's address mobile ops and types of antennas today. Now, I used to run 10-meter mobile, made a lot of contacts with it. One thing that always kind of bothered me on it was that if you're making contacts driving, I never figured out a way to keep a logbook, especially if you wanted to send them a QSL card or something. It was always kind of hard for me to keep track of things. And let's all remember safety first. Nowadays, with all these rules for cell phones, which I understand don't apply to ham radio, but we still need to be safe running mobile. And there's all kinds of new stuff out there for logbook tracking, and I'm not sure how much of it can be adapted to mobile. And if anybody has got any suggestions on that, please either email me or comment here and I'll add it to a video. So I don't have a good way to tell you how to keep a track of a logbook running mobile, but just be careful, whatever you do. Hey, ham radio cat. Aaron, he may come up here where you can see him in just a minute. Aaron, my number one fan. Did have a question about types of antennas for running 10-meter mobile. And that's where you're going to have to really decide what kind of rig you're running. If you're running this a straight 10-meter mobile, then you just need a straight 10-meter antenna. But if you happen to be running a HF rig to cover all bands, and once you get your general, you may want to run mobile on other bands, you need to consider the type of antenna there. Well, let's talk about general 10-meter stuff first. Now, we'll go back to CB days and some CB lingo, so don't everybody crucify me on this. But I remember when I worked for Walmart in the late 70s, in the middle of the CB craze, 102-inch steel whip with the chrome spring mounted to the ball base mount. And if I remember right, 21 foot 6 inches of coax was supposed to be a 1.5 to 1 SWR on the antenna. And if I remember right, I actually sold setups like that to a CB company at Walmart that had, for the 102-inch steel whip, had the 21 foot 6 inches, I believe, of coax. Now, once you get in ham radio, you realize the length of the coax didn't have any effect on the SWR of that particular antenna. But if you had it set up like that, 102-inch whip with the big chrome spring and the ball mount, your SWR was generally good. All right. HKV, WD5 HKV, and myself back in the 90s got to running 10-meter mobile. I was running my first Ranger 2950, and he's running a Uniden, I believe, 2600 that he actually still has. And he showed me that if you just took the spring out, put the 102-inch steel whip straight to the ball mount, the SWR was good. Because there's no way to adjust a 102-inch steel whip. You're doing your adjustment there, getting the length right, depending on the band, like 11 meters had to have the spring in it, and 10 meters didn't. And we made a lot of contacts with it. Now, Jeff had his mounted on the bumper of his pickup on the outside, and he would pull it over and tie it down if he needed to go in any place. Now, being the redneck that I am, and was back then, I used to drive old junkers to work. I had a 73 half Bondo, half primer, Ford long wide bed pickup that had a pipe rack on it when I bought it. Now all my buddies at work call it the plumbing truck. I actually took a flat piece of aluminum, bolted it to the top of that pipe rack, and mounted that whip up there. Of course, it worked great. All the drive-thrus hated me. And after I drove it a while, that whip didn't look too good, but they work good like that. I don't recommend mounting it like that. All right, because that just causes problems. But if you get on any ham radio related business. MTC's got some, MFJ, Hustler, go to HRO, any of them, and look at the type of just straight 10-meter antenna that you might need to fit your application and the type of vehicle you drive. Now, bear in mind, my personal opinion, the higher the antenna is on the vehicle, the better it's probably going to work. Now, a friend of mine down the road, when he was active ham years ago, he was big at running mobile. He had the Hustler single band whip set up. That Hustler makes a bumper mount that your coax hooks to, and then they sell you different masts with a center load for whatever band. And he'd go out and just change whatever band he's running, and they sell one for 10 meters. MFJ sells these little ham stick, I don't know if they call them ham stick on MFJ or something, but they're just little fiberglass sticks, 3H24 thread, and they'll sell you a mag mount, or you can buy any other kind of mount to go with it, and for each single band, and you can use something like that. Just have to get you an SWR bridge or a Nano VNA to set it up to make sure you got your SWR right. I actually use one of the MFJ mag mounts with that individual single band stick on 6 meters here on my house. My back porch roof's got a metal roof on it, and that's what I've got up for 6 meters right now. So mainly, the main thing you got to look at in 10-meter mobile is mounting it, getting it safely on your vehicle, and you're going to have 10 meters even with a center load. It's going to be longer than a 2-meter antenna, so you got to be careful what you're going to be going through, drive-throughs, etc., low parking garages, your own garage. You're going to have to think about that and getting it mounted on there. I've seen guys that run bumper mounts and work great with 10, especially when the band's open. But get the proper antenna and have it set for what frequencies you're going to be operating in. And I highly recommend center your SWR in the novice portion of the phone portion of 10 meters, because that's where 99% of the contacts are made. A lot of times here in the shack, if the band's really open good and there's a lot of stuff going on in the novice portion, I'll always tune up to a 28.6, about the highest I go. And I'll make contacts up there, especially some DX contacts. But again, it's going to be up to you to decide the type of vehicle, your daily driving habits, and what all you're going to have to be driving through, car washes, etc., with an antenna on there. So you got to think about that. And honestly, the idea of the bumper mount Hustler is a pretty good idea, because it's pretty easy to jump out, unscrew that thing, put it in the trunk when you're not needing it, and then you don't have to worry about anything you're driving through. But check those out. MTC sells them. Like I said, HRO sells them. Any good ham radio, Gigaparts, anything, look at. And look at the MFJ stuff. They've got some good mag mount stuff also. And I think they sell some bumper mounts. Just something to think about. Now, if you're a general or planning on upgrading to general and you've got a full HF rig in your car, what can I run multiband stuff on there? Well, they make several multiband antennas that are able to run mobile. I believe the vertical antenna that DLX uses has also got a mobile version, a multiband, but you have to go out there and change the tap setting on it on wherever you're going to be using. I know, I think Texas bird catchers like that. There used to be an Outbacker. I don't know if it's still available or not. It just had a little porch down at 10, 15, 20, whatever, and it had a wire wrapped around it, and you just had to unwrap it and plug it in on whichever one you wanted. Something else to think about if you're going to run multiple bands. Well, also, W5MAS years ago, when, like I said, he was the one running all them Hustlers. He had a Hustler stick for every band. Y'all hold on just a second. I got to pause for a second. Oh, sorry about that. Had to help my wife a minute. We got a diabetic cat that we're having to do a little checking on. Got to take her to the vet tomorrow. Okay, we was talking about multiband HF mobile. Oh, excuse me, I've been outside. It's hot this morning. Like I said, a bunch of different variety of antennas there. Like I said, W5MAS had the a set of the Hustler whips for whatever band he was going to operate on. And Hustler makes great stuff. They've been around. It's an old company. It's been around a long time. And if you're looking at running multi-band, that might be the easiest way to do it. That way you get every frequency set, and all you got to do is just stop, pull that whip off, screw another on, away you go, and you know you got a good antenna up. And plus, run them on the bumper will help with your clearances on driving down the road. Getting a lot of 10-meter traffic right now, especially on our nighttime roundtable. We've getting a lot of check-ins from around the country, and we really enjoy that. Man, we love to have other people check in with us. Glad to see these techs getting on the air, getting a lot of tech contacts, and I hope you techs continue to try to get that other general class license, because 17 is a fun band also. I made it in there a little while yesterday, got a 17 contact or two in. But 10 meters is a good band. Y'all gonna have a lot of fun with it. Remember, running mobile though, don't get fixated on switching frequencies, because you got to keep driving. We don't want to, cell phone operators get enough bad press from car accidents. We don't want ham radio operators to start causing them also. So be aware of what you're doing there with that. Like I said, if you got any more questions on antennas or radios, shoot me a comment. I'll try to answer them. I'll try to address what I can here. And I try to give general answers, because what works for me may not work in your application the best. But I'll try to give you the information where you can go and do a little research and find it for yourself. And I'll be glad to get more specific with any answer with anybody. All right. Want to be sure, if you got a ham radio company you're looking for, Main Trading Company in Paris, Texas. Main Trading Company's online. If you look them up, you can find their website. They got online shipping. Remember, another good avenue is your local ham radio club. I live in an area where I'm not real easy access to a ham club, so we had a little informal one here in Red River County back in the 90s, but a lot of those guys have gone silent key and are inactive, so I'm not a member of a club right now. But there's a bunch of good ones available. Four States Amateur Radio Club, they're on Facebook, along with Dallas Amateur Radio, Cowtown Amateur Radio, Shreveport Amateur Radio. Good clubs to listen to check on Facebook. There's a ham radio page. I'm a member of it. I can't remember the exact title of it. It's Texas Amateur Radio, I believe. That's another good page. Ham Radio Flea Market Trading Post, Amateur Radio Elmer's, Ham Radio. So check all those Facebook pages out, and check other videos out on YouTube. I like to see everybody get all the information they can possibly need to keep this hobby going and answer any questions they have. Like I said, my call sign's KB5MIQ. Email's on my QRZ page. Just shoot me an email if you got a question. Just be sure and put your or my call sign in the subject matter, because I get a lot of emails all the time that I delete that are just from businesses, and I usually from entering Facebook contests. All right. Hope everybody has a great week, and happy Father's Day to all you ham radio operators out there. This is KB5MIQ Big Boy 73.